to be a short video talking about how we can use grep to take over the tasks of multiple methods in Ruby. So I'm going to create an array here. I'm going to start an IRB session, and then I'm going to create an array of file names. So I'm going to say RB, and then there.rb, and then let's add a index.html, and I want to make this an array. Okay, so we have our array here. Now, I'm taking this example because I read a great article from Zigzag, and he did an excellent job on explaining how you can use grep to really do the functions of select and map and different methods like that. So I'll leave that link in the show notes too, so you can go review that and see in even more detail how you could do this. But I'm going to use this example that he gave. So usually if, say that you wanted to return only those elements that are in the array that end in RB, and say in addition to that, not only did you want to return that, but you also want to take off the extension. So in other words, you want an array to be returned of just the file names that end in RB. So it'd be hey and there. Now, if you wanted to do this, that's a little bit tricky, especially if you want to be elegant with it and do it on one line. But you can create a select method. So I'll say select, and then pass in a block here. So I'll say select X, and then pass in a regular expression, which you know how to do from the last section. So I'm going to say X, and then create a let's see, a regular expression here that searches for just the items or just the array elements that end in RB, just like that. And then after that, I want to map over each of the elements in the returned array. And I'm going to pass a block here. And with this one, I'm going to say, I want you to grab, and we can use our array math right here, and say if this is a 0 position, this is -1, this is -2, this is -3, and then this would be -4 in both cases. So what we want to do is go and take the array and grab the fourth, or go back 4 in that array, and then let's see, close this off, and I think that is all correct. So yeah, we're grabbing, we're creating an array right here, and we're selecting the elements that end in RB. We're mapping over those, and then we're simply going to be removing those last 4 items, or those last 3 items. And there, that worked perfectly. So we have hey and there. Now, that's great and it works. However, there is a way we can use grep to make this even more efficient. So I'm going to show you, we still have our array, didn't change it. So I'm going to say array and then call grep. And now with grep, we can pass in another regular expression here. But with this one, we're going to be able to pass a star character, which means that we want all of the elements here that end in RB. And then after that, we're just going to pass in $1 and in curly braces. And $1, what this is it's not quite like an iterator variable, but it's similar to it. You don't really have to worry about it for this. This is just a kind of a shortcut way of saying it's going to grab the last item. And so it's going to essentially give us all the same behavior we had in all this code right here. Hit return, and there you go. We have hey and there. So I don't want you to really get tied into some of these things. A few of these things are more advanced, like this $1 I don't even remember last time I used something like that in an application. It's definitely getting into more of the advanced things in Ruby, so you don't have to worry about that right now. Just realize that it's going to be taking each one of those elements. So right here we're grabbing the .rb, and so what this $1 is essentially grabbing that. It's removing it, and then it's letting only what we want be returned in the array. But as you can see, our code right here is incredibly efficient, and once you understand the $1, it's much easier to read than this. Here we are selecting, we have multiple blocks that we're running, so essentially we're running almost like nested type of iterators, which if the array became a huge size, this also wouldn't be very efficient. So here with grep, we're only running one task, and we're simply able to pass a regular expression right to it. We don't have to go through and build one regular expression and then do some array math to go grab the elements. This does it all for us. So hopefully you can see that that can make your code a little bit more elegant. This is not as much something that, you may use something like this, like what we just wrote, but more importantly, I want you to have it in your back of your mind when you need to select elements and you may need to do something with the elements that you selected, that kind of thing, that you don't just have select available to you. You also can start using grep, and that may give you a little bit better performance and more readable code. So good job if you went through that. We're definitely getting into some of the more advanced parts of Ruby, but I think it's really important because this is something, like I showed you in the last episode, grep something I use almost on a daily basis when it comes to just iterating through and going through an application, but you can also use it inside of the code itself as a way of searching.